Valley Villagers, welcome to the Disney Dreamlight Valley 2024 Showcase stream. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Ryan.
And we're both so excited to give you a behind the magic look at what's coming next for the game.
So what do we have in store for you today? We're thrilled to introduce some of the amazing folks on the team, reflect on this incredible past year of free updates, and the Disney Dreamlight Valley, a Rift in Time expansion pass. We'll also look ahead at some of the exciting developments on the horizon.
And make sure to tune in for the full stream as well. It'll be bursting with surprise reveals and exclusive teasers that you won't want to miss.
Kicking things off, we're starting this celebration by reflecting on one of the best parts of Disney Dreamlight Valley, you, our community.
And thank you for joining us today and living magically with us and alongside some of your favorite Disney and Pixar characters. Let's dive into how you've shaped this journey with the inclusion of community-driven features, some arriving a lot sooner than you might expect. At this point, there isn't a corner of my own valley that isn't inspired in part by our fans' designs. But what I love is seeing their reactions to each update, exploring and relating to the stories that each new character brings.
And just like last year, we've brought along some clips that show off our past year of updates, just as we see it through the community's eyes.
Heiße Jack Skellington, willkommen! Okay, hat's geklappt, wunderbar.
Well, you see, I'm the president of the Oogie Boogie fan club. What?
I love it.
Look how cute she looks.
Look at her.
Wow.
Nobody's sad that I have to break them with hands.
We're matching. Oh my god. Oh.
We're gonna make. Oh my gosh.
Oh, this is so cool.
Oh my gosh. We're like changing it from the past to the present.
Oh my god. Hi, Oswald.
Oswald!
Look at us flying!
Before we get any further, I think we have a code 2319.
A code 23. Oh, that's the first redemption code we have to share with everyone watching the stream. Add some celebratory style to your avatar by redeeming the code on screen for a pair of Dreamlight thigh-high socks and Dreamlight crew socks to wear in-game.
Use these steps to redeem the code and be sure to tune into the full stream for additional code reveals.
Since this time last year, we've introduced 2 new realms, 13 new characters, and dozens of exciting furniture and wardrobe items across 6 free updates, and the Disney Dreamlight Valley, a Rift in Time expansion pass. As always, if you have a suggestion or feedback for the game, don't hesitate to let us know on one of our social media accounts or by joining our official Discord server.
Up next, we've got another community manager, Courtney, and our game manager, Guillaume, to give you all the deets on our upcoming free update and maybe some of those aforementioned quality of life improvements that you can expect coming to your valleys very soon.
Thanks for joining me today to take a deep dive into the next free content update coming to the Valley.
Hello!
Thanks for having us.
So last year around this time, we revealed Jack Skellington and the Pumpkin King Returns update. As you likely guessed from our last roadmap, Sally from Disney Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas will join him, bringing her signature patchwork style to the Valley as part of the So Delightful update.
After hunting for dolls and experimenting on night shards with Jack, what can we expect from Sally's adventures in the Valley?
Well, having lost her way outside the Valley, players will team up with Jack to make sense of Sally's creepy-crawly messengers as they craft a plan to reunite with her. Then as Sally gets comfortable in the Valley, you'll help her set up a macabre date night, embrace the art of quilting, and puzzle out her latest premonition, among other things.
So as far as Sally's friendship rewards go, what can players expect?
Well, inspired by our sense of style, you can expect tons of patterns across clothing items and furniture. From stripped socks to a bed featuring Sally's iconic patchwork aesthetic, these rewards just scream Sally.
Now, it wouldn't be a Disney Dreamlight Valley update without a new star path. What can we expect from the theme this time around?
Well, this winter we'll be embracing the ethereal sides of the season. You'll get to step into your own personal fairy tale with ice-adorned furniture and bring a sense of whimsy to your dream stop submissions with a wand that produces snowflakes.
Well, there's never been a better time to join the Valley, especially now, as I know the team's been cooking up something particularly special with this update. Isn't that right, Guillaume?
That's right. As part of the So Delightful update, we're introducing a feature called Floating Islands. These act as additional spaces parallel to the valley, where players can decorate and let their creativity run free.
So you could almost think of these as extensions of the current biomes?
Exactly. Each biome in the valley will have a floating islands counterpart, retaining the same theme and ambience, but it will start as a clean slate. We plan to roll this out over time, and we'll kick things off with 4 floating islands in the So Delightful update. Like biomes in the valley, they will be purchasable with Dreamlight. And even better, each floating island will have objects limit independent from those in the valley, making them perfect for exploring your creativity and seeing how far you can go with your decorating skills.
We've also seen how driven our community is to connect, so it was equally important to us to ensure that this creativity could be shared. So yes, you will be able to travel to floating islands during valley visits.
How big are these spaces?
From a scale perspective, our intention is for each of these floating islands to feel comparable in size to their valley counterparts, once you've taken out immovable features. Ultimately, the goal is to offer ample space to create without them feeling overwhelming. We will have more to share about the exact size of the floating islands a little closer to launch.
And any furniture, decorations, or houses you've collected, as well as villagers you've befriended, will be totally accessible on these islands, and you won't have to worry about tidying up. Instead, the focus will be on empowering you with the creativity-focused options you've come to love.
We have one more piece of big news to share regarding a feature update.
Oh, in addition to floating islands?
Yes, we're improving upon how players can decorate in a huge way. Currently, item rotation is locked to the 4 cardinal directions. We've been impressed with our community's creative drive, and it has inspired us to add even greater control when placing items by increasing to 16 points of rotation.
And this feature won't just apply to furniture. You'll be able to more freely rotate buildings, landscaping items, resources like flowers, and even dropped items like prepared dishes. Our plan is to continue building upon this feature over time, including extending the support to fences and paths.
When will players be able to get their hands on these features and the rest of the update?
We are excited to share that the So Delightful update will be released free for all players on December 4th, 2024.
Speaking of release date, I feel like there was one more thing you wanted to unveil.
Looking ahead to next year, we're excited to share the free content roadmap for the first half of 2025. In the first 3 updates of early next year, we're excited to bring some beloved characters to the valley. There are 2 I know have been among the top in community requests, and it's safe to say I'm right there with them.
And this is just a first look at what we have in store. With such a rich history of Disney and Pixar stories to draw from, there are so many exciting characters yet to come. I've been tiding myself over by hosting tea parties in the valley, so I can't wait until we can share what the team's got in the cards for that spring update. How about you, Ryan?
I'm excited to see what Secret Skull Rock might hold. After all, I know this has been a hot topic among the community, but most importantly, I can't wait to see what all of our players are most excited about. But with that, I really appreciate you both taking the time to chat today. Changing gears from free content updates, I think it's about time we visited a new land of mythical proportions.
Welcome to the Storybook Vale. Lately, life here hasn't been so happily ever after. But it wasn't always like this. Once upon a time, the Storybook Vale was a land made up of legendary stories, where myths and fairy tales sprang to life. Until one day, powerful villains stole it away and twisted it to their image. But their wicked nature didn't keep them friendly for long. Their hunger for power tore the veil apart. But all is not lost forever. Explore this magical world floating in the sky. Discover an enchanted artifact. Capture treasured tales that have taken on a life of their own. Unravel mythic riddles and reveal their hidden secrets. Rekindle old friendships. Rediscover long-lost fables. And help old friends come back together again. Disney Dreamlight Valley. The Storybook Vale, Part 1, launches November 20.
Launching on November 20th, Part 1 of Disney Dreamlight Valley, the Storybook Vale, invites players to make use of their Stardust port once again to be whisked away to the Vale. Our second expansion pass gives players a whole new adventure, full of new friends, quests, biomes, and even more surprises. Joining us now to share more on the narrative and game design of Disney Dreamlight Valley, the Storybook Vale, are some familiar faces from our last showcase, Josh and Calixta. Welcome.
Hello.
Happy to be here.
I'm sure everyone is buzzing with questions after seeing that amazing trailer. To kick things off, could you share some more insights into the direction behind creating another expansion pass?
Of course. So expansion passes let us recapture the feeling that we gave players the first time they stepped into the valley, telling a whole new story with new villagers to meet, mysteries to unravel, and biomes to make all your own. They're a great way for us to deliver just a huge amount of content to players.
And many of our players have interacted with the first expansion pass, Disney Dreamlight Valley: A Rift in Time, which was explored in 3 acts. Should they be looking forward to a similar rollout with this new one?
So for this expansion, we chose to do 2 parts with more content in each. We saw player feedback around the time to reach the conclusion of the story and get Jafar, and with this new format, you'll get just as much content without as long of a wait. But just like with our first expansion, purchasing the Disney Dreamlight Valley, the Storybook Vale expansion pass will get you both parts as they become available.
More content, fewer cliffhangers? Count me in. Now it's time to spill the beans. What is the exciting story this time?
So the Storybook Vale is the place in your heart where all your most treasured stories live. Once it hung in the sky above Dreamlight Valley, but during the forgetting, 2 Disney villains stole the Vale away. For a time, Maleficent from Disney's Sleeping Beauty and Hades from Disney's Hercules ruled peacefully together over its 3 unique biomes: the Bind, Ever After, and Mythopia. But soon, a struggle for power between the Mistress of All Evil and the Lord of the Underworld tore the Vale apart. As you can imagine, when you get those 2 egos together in a room, sparks literally fly.
Yes. And when the players arrive in the Vale, they'll find out that things aren't so happily ever after. Ink is spilling out of the very ground throughout the Vale, and other mysterious phenomena have begun to take hold. You'll meet with the Lore Keeper, a talking enchanted book who holds this world together. And while she won't tell many stories in her pages, the discord between Hades and Maleficent has scattered them. So only you can put them back together as you explore the Vale and get a little help from new friends along the way.
Speaking of new friends, we were all treated to a glimpse of some of the villagers who will hopefully join us on our adventures and later our valleys. I'm sure I'm not the only one curious as to what you can tell us about our new friends.
Well, I'm happy to share that Part 1 of the Storybook Vale will bring with it 3 villagers for you to unlock. In the Bind, you'll find Merida from Disney and Pixar's Brave. Merida is such a fun character, and she seemed like the perfect new friend for the player. This fearless princess will act as your guide, helping you command your own fate and learn more about this new world.
And in Ever After, you'll meet with Flynn Rider from Disney Tangle. This swashbuckling rogue will help you uncover a world of fairy tales. Flynn's personality is so exciting to play with. Just watch out when he puts on his smolder. For players who already befriended Rapunzel in Disney Dreamlight Valley: A Rift in Time, look out for a special opportunity to reunite the 2.
And in Mythopia, you'll meet Hades from Disney's Hercules. Hades will help you to get to the bottom of a world of myths. And in my opinion, Hades is one of the funniest characters ever in a Disney movie, and he brings that same sense of humor to the game. Just watch out as he tries to make you his minion, because he's not exactly the greatest boss.
And of course, all these villagers will come with their own unique houses that you can move to the base game or to a floating island, if that's where you think they work best and want them to live.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna add Hades to my floating island full of villains.
I'll absolutely be making a Tangled-themed floating island to house both Flynn and Rapunzel. But I noticed you didn't mention anything about Maleficent.
While players might run into her in Part 1, stay tuned for Part 2 to solve all the mysteries of the Vale and welcome her to the Valley.
And that's not all. You can expect one more mysterious figure to join forces with players in Part 2 of the Storybook Vale.
Aside from new friends helping us, is there anything else we can expect to aid us in piecing back together the Lore Keeper's stories?
Yes, players will have their neural net to aid them.
Why a net?
Well, the scatters pages from the Lore Keeper hasn't just scattered with the wind. They've come to life in the form of snippets, which are enchanted origami creatures that you have to capture. The snippets mostly hang out around the Vale, but watch out for a few special rare ones that will show up back in the Dreamlight Valley.
Can't believe how cute they are. They're gonna be tricky to catch.
Other than looking adorable flying around the Vale, each snippet will come with their own unique way to be captured that the player will need to figure it out.
And once you catch them, you can restore Disney and Pixar magic to the Lore Keeper's pages with a puzzle minigame. Each tale takes the form of a beautiful tapestry telling the story behind a classic Disney or Pixar film, and these tapestries can then serve as beautiful pieces of decor that players can use to furnish their in-game homes.
I can't wait to see the gallery spaces our players are going to design to showcase them. But speaking of designing, as I'm sure players are invested in where to place their home in-game, what can we look forward to when exploring the different biomes in the expansion?
Well, after seeing the feedback from our last expansion, we've improved the flow of unlocking the areas within the biome and how a player progression in turn affect their exploration of this fantastical new world. One of our main goals in crafting the Veil was to allow for easier and more inspired decorating for our decor-driving players. We've also added more magic with the introduction of prominent landmarks inspired by Disney and Pixar stories. But of course, our team delights in creating secrets for players to discover too. Throughout your journey to the Veil, you will uncover trials, special quests inspired by fairy tales and myths. They've become Scrabble-like pages in a book, and only the player can set them right using their full breadth of real tools, old and new.
And I'm sure our community is up for the challenge. With all you've shared, it sounds like there's still many mysteries waiting for us in the Veil. Thank you so much for joining us, you two.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Up next, we invite 2 members of the art team to the stage to share more on the world and artistic design of the Storybook Veil. But first, use the code on screen to claim a Dreamlight Bow headband in-game.
I'm joined by art director Steven and concept artist Yanon to dig into some of the inspiration behind the Storybook Veil.
Hey there.
Thanks for having us.
Why don't we start with quite literally the biggest artistic endeavor of the expansion pass, the biomes. Earlier, we were introduced to the Bind, Mythopia, and Ever After. Where did the inspiration for these biomes come from?
In many ways, the biome was born out of our team's collective love of stories. There's something special and uniquely cozy about curling up with a good book. So the decision to lean into dark academia and the cool yet cozy ambience of an autumnal forest just made sense.
And similarly, Mythopia, as you may have guessed from the name, is inspired by Greco-Roman culture and ancient myths. When you explore this biome, you'll walk through rolling fields of golden wheat, dotted with cypress trees, magenta florals, and ancient ruins. And you may also discover subtle clues that a certain god of the underworld has also been there.
Finally, there's Ever After. We drew a ton of inspiration from Scottish and Scandinavian folklore, while sprinkling in Fey mythology. The idea was to capture the feeling of a dark, enchanted mushroom forest and windswept moorlands.
I don't know about you, but for me, one of the most exciting aspects of digging into new biomes is seeing just how they'll translate into clothing and furniture items. Could you share a sneak peek at what folks can expect?
Of course, self-expression is one of the main pillars of our game, so we love the idea of taking inspiration from the new biomes into player customization. Maybe you want to build a cozy library where you can read for hours, or you want to dress up as a Greek god or goddess, or design a magical mushroom fairy forest. I think that there's something for everyone here.
Speaking of expression, we wanted to take our commitment to aesthetic cohesion even further in the Storybook Veil. Not only will you find Scrooge McDuck's store and Sherry Me within this new world, but you'll also find their facades have been overhauled to better fit in with their biome surroundings.
You'll also want to keep an eye out for some new additions to Scrooge McDuck's store that will be available to owners of this new expansion pass.
Knowing just how much care you've put into the smaller details of the environment, I'd love to know if there's any landmarks that stood out to you.
Yes, well, speaking of those smaller details, we loved playing with scale in Ever After. In particular, there's a waterfall feature that's inspired by the Mad Hatter's Tea Party from Disney's Alice in Wonderland. I feel like this perfectly captures the whimsy of that biome.
The giant Hades statues in Mythopia is another imposing sight in game. Between that and the design of Mount Olympus, which features flames that mirror Hades himself, I feel like these players will have a blast picking out the details we worked in.
What about snippets? Where did that idea come from?
The snippets are literal pieces of escaped stories torn from a book. When we were imagining how they may have escaped, we realized we wanted the snippets to have their own personalities. So the idea of origami animals or little paper creatures like a cute and fluttery bird or a silly little frog was created.
I love that. Speaking of cute little animals, are you able to share anything about the new animal companions coming this expansion?
Absolutely. As there will be 3 biomes arriving in the expansion pass, we'll be adding a unique critter to each, all with their own colour variants and puzzling catching mechanics. First of these soon-to-be animal companions for the players to find will be the owls in the Bind.
And as a nod to Maleficent's rule of the land, players can find mini dragons in Ever After. And if that's not exciting enough, players can also find mini winged horses in Mythopia, drawing inspiration from Disney's Fantasia.
That's incredible. I know I'll be counting down the days until I can adventure with a mini dragon at my side. To wrap things up, however, any last details on new collectibles and resources?
As you've seen, the Storybook Vale's biomes are remarkable in their own ways, and the resources you can find in each are unique as well.
One of my favorite new additions are koi. They can be found in the bind along with sea wolf fish and delicious sea grapes.
How about you, Stephen? Any favorites?
I'm a big fan of the landscaping. Mythopia brings poppies, buried lightning strikes and bougainvillea, and Ever After is filled with bioluminescent moss and giant flora. There's also plenty of edible plants as well, ranged from green beans to porcini to more fantastical ones like ambrosia.
Well, I can't wait to see how our players react to them. With new resources, can we also expect to be cooking up new delectable dishes?
Definitely. We have dozens of new recipes arriving with the expansion pass, utilizing ingredients from both the Valley and the Vale.
Once again, thank you both so much for joining us today to dig into all the amazing art in Disney Dreamlight Valley, the Storybook Vale.
Thanks.
Thanks for having us.
Now, let's take a look at how you can get your hands on the expansion pass.
For those of you who've been following along on this magical journey and already own the base game, there are 2 ways to dive into the Storybook Vale expansion pass.
Like a Rift in Time before it, the expansion pass will include a bundle of moonstones with your purchase. If you'd like to add a little extra magic, look no further than the Magical Edition, which offers even more moonstones, a collection of library and chic cosmetic items, and a truly adorable baby Pegasus animal companion.
If you're new or know a friend who would love to get into Disney Dreamlight Valley, these are great starting points. Between the Disney Dreamlight Valley base game, the Storybook Vale bundle, and the Enchanted Edition, you'll be able to choose what's right for you.
And of course, we can't forget about those of you who take the time to dive into updates as soon as they arrive. We're excited to offer a special early adopter bonus for expansion pass owners. As we add new ways to begin or expand upon your Disney Dreamlight Valley experience, we'll soon say goodbye to the Gold Edition, which comes bundled with the base game, our first expansion pass, A Rift in Time, and an assortment of cosmetic items.
This edition will officially leave stores on November 20th at 5 a.m. Eastern Time. We are kicking off our deepest sale of the Gold Edition to date, so catch up on our first expansion, also on sale, while you wait for the Storybook Vale.
And there you have it. From a new expansion pass exploring myth and the stories that connect us, to floating islands that will open up all sorts of creativity in the Valley, we're so glad you were able to join us for all the excitement of today's showcase.
Remember to redeem the 2 codes we shared throughout this showcase, and the 3rd and final one, right here, for unique Dreamlight-themed items in-game.
And stay tuned to our social channels over the coming weeks for even more details on these exciting new releases. Disney Dreamlight Valley, the Storybook Vale expansion pass launches on November 20th, and the So Delightful update arrives on December 4th.
See you in the Valley.